जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे। जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे। जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा। ताय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। देवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचर अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद् निर्वाण भक्त वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचर अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद् निर्वाण भक्त सिद्धांत ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त बंधु की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदेव मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमय यमुनमय की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All Hare Hare Krishna. All Hare Hare Krishna. All Hare Hare Krishna. All Hare Hare Shri Guru and Gauranga Prabhupada की जय। ओम विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निधनाम नमस्ते सारस्वत देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य देस्तारणे। So thank you for joining. We'll be discussing from Bhagavad Gita introduction, continuation from last week. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं निर्तारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। रीडिंग फ्रॉम somebody else. Zoom password. Ashish Karna Prabhu, can you switch on the exhaust, please? Or open the windows. Okay. So first we'll sing the song and we'll continue the discussion of the introduction from the last, I think 1 week gap was there. Okay. This is because we'll be discussing about Lord Krishna. So we'll be singing this song to begin with and then we'll discuss. This is called Nandanastakam, Sri Nandanastakam. Sucharvaktramandalam Sukarnaratnakundalam Suchachitangachandanam Namami Nandanandanam Sudirganetra Pankajam Siki Sikandamurdajam Anangakoti Mohanam Namami Nandanandanam Sunasikagramouktikam Swachandadanta Navam Budanga Chikkanam Namami Nandanandanam Kareන Venuranjitam Gati Karindraganjitam Dukulapita Sobhanam Namami Nandanandanam Tribangadeha Sundaram Nakadhyuti Sudakaram Amulya Ratna Bhushanam Namami Nandanandanam Sugandha Anga Sauravam Vuro Viraji Kaustavam Sfurat Srivasta Lanchanam Namami Nandanandanam Vrindavana Sunagaram Vilasanugavasasam Surendra Garvamochanam Namami Nandanandanam Vrajangana Sunayakam Sada Sukha Pradayakam Jaganmana Robanam Namami Nandanandanam Sri Nandanandrastakam Padedya Shradayanvita Tared Bhavadhim Dustaram Labet Tadangri Yugmakam. Translation. I offer pranama to Nandanandana, whose face is extremely. Password is not working or what? Hold on. I offer pranama to Nandana, whose face is extremely delightful, in whose beautiful ears hang jeweled earrings, and whose entire body is anointed with fragrant chandana. I offer pranama to Nandana, whose eyes are more beautiful than the fully bloomed lotus, whose head is beautifully adorned with an arrangement of peacock feathers, and who enchants millions of cupids. I offer pranama to Nandana, from whose beautiful nose hangs an elephant pearl, whose teeth are immensely effulgent, whose bodily complexion is more beautiful and lustrous than a fresh rain cloud. I offer pranama to Nandana, whose lotus hands hold the flute, whose lingering gait defeats even that of an impassioned elephant, and whose dark limbs are beautified by a yellow shawl. So let's look at the Lord more closely. Yeah. So then now we can see. I offer pranama to Nandana, whose threefold bending posture is exquisitely elegant, the effulgence of whose toenails put to shame even the moon, and who hears invaluable, who wears invaluable jewels and ornaments. I offer pranama to Nandana, whose body exudes an especially beautiful fragrance, and whose broad chest is adorned with the Kaustuba jewel and a mark of Srivatsa. I offer pranama to Nandana, the expert lover of Vrindavana, who performs immaculate pastimes and who is attired in clothes which are suitable for those pastimes, who pulverize the pride of Indra. I offer pranama to Nandana, who, as the lover of the Brajagopis, perpetually delights them and who enchants the minds of all living entities. Whoever regularly recites this Sri Nandanandana will easily cross the seemingly insurmountable ocean of material existence and attain the eternal residence at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. This is a beautiful song describing the Lord's beauty in 8 verses. Hmm. Uh, so we can understand the. It says not working. And Ravikant Prabhu, how did you log in? Use the linking or password? It says not working. Give me a minute. Let me see. Zoom itself. Zoom, what does it say? Let me see. What is it showing for me? Oh, passcode is different. 674540. That is the passcode. The password 1008 is working? No, you use the link, I think. Yeah, somebody is trying to enter the phone or something. 674540. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah, somebody's trying with the other way. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Mathura Prasad, bro, you are able to join? Okay.
Yeah, I am able to join.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. We just did sang in Nandanandana. We'll go through the introduction now. So we have discussed the divisions of the Vedas, Upanishads, and Vedangas, all that, and then in introduction we covered to half of the introduction we covered, but we'll just recap. First thing we discussed in the introduction, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is speaking. The Bhagavad Gita is the Gitopanishad, is the essence of the Vedic knowledge. And then now there are many commentaries translations or commentaries, books are available for Bhagavad Gita. When Prabhupada came to US that time itself, there were 600. So which one? So many asked for Prabhupada. Then so there, but none of the authors were strictly authorized because they presented their own philosophies, but nothing. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You can sit if you want to sit here or there, wherever you're comfortable. Uh, so they presented their own opinions without touching the actual spirit of Bhagavad Gita. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has translated Bhagavad Gita as it is. So because just like the spirit of Bhagavad, please come, please be seated. Spirit of Bhagavad Gita is described in Bhagavad Gita itself, just like yeah. You have chairs or sofa. Otherwise, move that sofa there. You can be seated wherever you are comfortable. Yeah, on the blanket. Yeah. So the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita itself by Lord Krishna. Just like if you go to doctor, you have to follow the label. On the label of the medicine, how the physician describes how a medicine should be taken and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. I think my internet is freezing. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. What we should do, what we shouldn't do, same way. So Lord Krishna is discussed. So the Bhagavad Gita should be taken just like as directed by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So that's how Bhagavad Gita should be taken, like how Arjuna has received it, and how Lord Krishna is speaking. That's how one should take. And then further, Lord Krishna is describing how one should receive this knowledge in chapter 4, a disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshiyo vidu. So previously Lord Krishna is described to Manu, and then Manu to Ikshvaku, Ikshvaku to further down. But knowledge has been lost, so that's why Lord Krishna has again renewed this connection to Arjuna. So same way how Arjuna is being connected from Lord Krishna, how he received knowledge, same way we should also receive this transcendental knowledge in a disciplic succession. This cannot be like a material book. You go and buy a book and you understand. This is not that book. This is the transcendental knowledge. So that's why one must receive this knowledge through a disciplic succession, and Lord Krishna is renewing this knowledge because the knowledge has been lost. Then further it is mentions in introduction that so this Gita is mainly, what is the purpose of Gita? Is meant for the delivering conditioned souls. So or how, or before even that, how one can understand Bhagavad Gita. So what is the purpose? Who is it meant for? It is meant for the devotees of the Lord. It is not meant for some jnanis or karmis or yogis. It is meant specifically for devotees of the Lord. That's why Lord Krishna is speaking to Bhagavad Gita, not to Duryodhana, not to Dhritarashtra, not to anybody. 64 crores of men assembled battlefield, but he is speaking specifically to Arjuna only. Only devotee can understand Bhagavad Gita. So at least theoretically, one must accept Lord Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then think himself as a devotee, as a servant of the Lord. One must accept, like Arjuna had accepted. So then we can understand. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita will stay as a mystery. You can't understand. You read verse, but you cannot understand what it means. So this is all in the introduction. We're just going. We just started 2-3 weeks ago. This is the third week. We're going through the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, what it entails. Further, it is mentioned that also relationship. When we said devotee of the Lord, Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, but in what relationship? So then the rasas are described. There are 5 main rasas: Shanta rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Madhurya rasa. So Lord Arjuna is here with Sakya rasa, especially friendship rasa. So Shanta means neutrality, Dasya means master servant, Sakya means friend, and then Vatsalya means parent child, and then Madhurya means conjugal love. So these are the various rasas. So one must have As soon as we say devotee, as soon as we say Lord, we have a relationship with the Lord, direct relationship with the Lord in one of these five primary rasas. For example, neutrality is like the rivers, the trees, the plants, the cows. All of them has a the neutrality relationship with the Supreme Lord. They are indirectly cooperating with the Lord. In Vrindavan pastime, it is mentioned. In Brajabhumi, there is a Yamuna river, which is its sandy banks. There are Kadamba trees, cows, Krishna sticks, which he heard the cows, and Krishna's flute. All of these belong to the Shantaras, the mellow of neutrality and devotion service. And the specific characteristic of Shantaras is unflinching faith in Krishna and cessation of all desires which are not connected with Krishna. Are common to all other rasas as well, but these are the two rasas specifically in Shantaras is there. So and that's what. And then we can look at the examples of Shanta Bhaktas or the Nava Yogendras are there also, other than the trees and plants. Even Nava Yogendras, Lord Rishabhadev's sons, out of 100 sons, 9 of them became yogis. They are called Nava Yogendras. Even the 4 Kumaras, Sanat Kumara, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara. So those 4 Kumaras are also comes under this category of this Santaras. Then Dasyaras, uh, Dasyaras means master servant. So master servant relation there we have examples of Raktak, Paktrak, Madhukanta, Madhuvrata, etc. Suchandra, Mandana, Stamba. There are many personalities. This is in Vrindavan, not Vaikunta. So below is Vaikunta, where we know many Jay, Vijay, and all of them are in the rest of the Vaikuntha planet. But this is the highest planet, Golok Vrindavan. These are the master servant Dasiras. Then you have Sakyaras, which is Arjuna here. So in the Sakyaras also we have many levels. There is 4 levels. So Suhrut and Sakha, Priya Sakha, and Priya Narma Sakha. There are 4 levels. So especially the out of all of them, Subal is the very closest, Priya Narmasaka, very close to Lord Krishna, Subal and Ujjwal. So Arjuna is also close, but not that close. Priya Narmasaka means Subal and Ujjwal are the very close. Subal, Arjuna, Gandharva, Vasanta, Ujjwala, Madhumangal. These are the some of the closest sakas of Lord Krishna. Out of them, Subal and Ujjwal are the most closest, best closest. Now, further, after explaining the rasas and relationship, how Gita must be understood in that as a devotee and in this particular relationship. Now, Lord Krishna is speaking further in the introduction. How Arjuna accepted Gita. So, Arjuna accepted Lord Krishna as Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Bhavan, Adi Devam, Ajam Vivam, Asaswatam Divyam. Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, his abode is the transcendental abode. Param Brahma is a transcendental. He doesn't have any material body. So, Satchidananda Vigraha is pure. He is original. Adi Devam. Not only that, further Lord Arjuna is saying that it is not that because I'm a friend, people may say later on that, oh, because a friend, that's why he's speaking. But then he's quoting the previous acharyas. Ahustam Rashaya Sarve Devarshi Naradastada Asito Devalo Vyaswayam Chevi Bravisame. So even Narada, Asila, Achita, Devala, Vyasa, all of them also mentioned that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And the various acharyas also, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many of them already had concluded that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Not only that, Arjuna mentions even more important point, one more important point. So not everybody cannot, even demigods cannot understand Lord Krishna's position. Ashish Karna Prabhu, open the windows or door and put the exhaust. Maybe open the doors. A lot of this thing is there. Even the demigods cannot understand Lord Krishna unless they act as a devotee of the Lord, then only. So that's why he's mentioning, Arjuna is mentioning. Sarvam etam artham manye mam vadasi kesav nahi te bhagavan victim vidur deva na danava. Even the demigods, even demons, they cannot understand Krishna so easily. It's very difficult for them unless they act as a devotee. Uh, So that's how Gita should be taken in the spirit of devotion. Theoretically accepting Lord Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, uh, and then we as a devotee in a particular rasa. Now, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? So, purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver the mankind from the nescience, from ignorance. Uh, Various perplex. Everybody has perplexities, distress, so difficulties. So that's why Lord Krishna specifically spoke this Bhagavad Gita. In this case, Arjuna also has a difficulty. Arjuna didn't know what to do, whether to fight or renounce or go back, or was very much agitated. He was in anxiety. He was in perplexity. What to do? uh, because everybody is threatened by this impermanent happiness, asat, non temporary, body changing. Nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody is looking for knowledge. But the opposite, opposite is happening here. Asat means impermanent. Achit means non-happiness, unhappiness. No, Achit means temporary knowledge. So today we may have now we may know something, but tomorrow we may not remember. Like last life, we don't remember. Few days ago or few months ago, we may not remember everything. Even yesterday's, we don't remember everything what we have done. So in this world, that's temporary world, has this Asat, Achit, and Nirananda, this impermanent happiness. That's what we are threatened in this material world. But the permanent, eternal spiritual world is completely opposite. Our original position also is in the spiritual world of Sachidananda Vigraha. So that's why the soul is anchoring for that. We are covered with gross body, subtle body. Gross body is this hands, legs, what we see, and Indriyas, senses. Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, working senses, hands, legs, and then Jnanendriyas are the eyes, the nose, skin, touch, the tongue. So all these are Jnanendriyas. So these are coming under gross body. And then you have subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, pulse. Then actually you have soul. So gross body, soul is covered by gross body and subtle body. And gross body, subtle body is trying to enjoy, always looking for material pleasure, because that is the business of the gross body. And the spirit soul is always looking for anchoring for the spiritual unlimited happiness. Brahma Saukyam hi Anantam. So that's why constant tug of war, struggle is there. Soul is looking for happiness, and body, gross body, subtle body, always looking for temporary material happiness. So, and so ultimately, the soul is the one actually who is inside this body. Soul has to get the eternal. Until that point, even though we try various ways, but soul is not getting the happiness. Obviously, we are facing the distress. We are unhappy. However, we may be trying. So that is the cause. That's why Lord Krishna specifically speaking Bhagavad Gita to relieve us from this threatening condition and bring us back to our original constitutional position of Satchidananda Vigraha. Eternal happiness, full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of eternality. That's what. And now after knowing this, then one must inquire now why the questions must arise. So then, introduction further, Lord is speaking. One must inquire about the supreme absolute truth. One must inquire why I am here, where I have come from, who am I, what is my position, where I have to go, where I should go, what is the destination, why I am suffering, why I have to go through birth, death, old age, disease. These are some of the questions mentioned in, I think, Kena Upanishad. These are 5 questions mentioned in Kena Upanishad. Bhagavad Gita also is called Gita Upanishad, essence of all the Upanishads. So this inquiry must be there. So that's why when living entity has this kind of inquiry, some kind of inquisitiveness, then only they come to this process of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there are so many people out there in the world. But not everybody is interested in this knowledge, because this is the because they are not inquisitive yet. Inquisitiveness is not there. That's why they can. So this is the first Vedanta sutra, Atato Brahma Jignasa, means inquiring about the Supreme Lord, who is God, what is his position, who we are, why we are suffering, all these questions. So that starts with that. That is the first inquiry, or awakening our actual consciousness. So that this is where actually it starts. Uh, in Katha Upanishad also various things are there. In all the Upanishads pretty much, but Gita Upanishad is Bhagavad Gita is essence. So where it is mentioned, one must awaken from sleep, uttishta jagrata varan nibodhata. Oh, get up, oh, sleeping soul, please get up and understand your original position. Uttishta, as we also in waking of the Lord in many places in Tirupati, they chant कौसल्या सुप्रजा रामपूर्वा संध्या प्रवर्तते उत्तिष्ठ नरसार्दूला कर्तव्यं दैवमान्निकं so उत्तिष्ठ get up. So as Vishwamitra is thinking, oh Lord, your time is up, you have to get up, you have duties to perform. Same way, so here Kena Upanishad is telling the living entity, get up and understand your actual the real eternal activity of the soul, not so much about the body activity of the body, but the nourishment of the soul. You have to think, wake up, and understand that aspect. So that's what has been discussed. And further, after understanding this inquiry about the absolute truth, and then we see also this same similar aspect of inquiry. The example is given in Katha Upanishad. I don't know if some of you know, but I have heard this past time from my grandfather when he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Childhood itself, I heard this. There is a Nachiketa and Emeraj. Nachiketa's father is there. This is a conversation between son of, I think, what's his name? Father's name is Vajasarva. Yes. He was performing Viswajit Yajna to promote himself to heavenly planet, higher planets. Then his son, so he's trying to perform sacrifice and offer various things, and he wants to basically uh, offer everything to the Lord, but he has the attachment. He is not able to do this. He is to offer in the sacrifice the old cow, old animals, everything, whatever is not useful. So that's what he is trying to relinquish. He has so much attachment. Then Nasiketa is seeing this, what his father is doing. Even though he wants to promote himself, but he is not able to renounce. He has attachment. So then Nasiketa is asking, "What are you trying to do?" He's asking, "You are not ready to give away anything." Then he asking what? Then his father becomes angry. So then what you want me to? Then he came to such a point that in angry mood he told, I will give you to Yamraj. And then that's how Nachiketa goes to Yamraj, abode of Yama. In 3 days he waits and Yamraj is not there, and the Yamraj comes. And then there was a discussion between Yamraj and Nachiket. And Nachiket asks, there is discussion. Then finally, Yamaraj was very satisfied with this Nasiketa, and then he asked for 3 boons. You take 3 boons. Then Nasiketa is asking, first one, I would like to get mental peace and happiness of seeing me back. My father should be very peaceful and happy to see me back because he was angry when he left. And then second thing he asks is a knowledge of performing the sacrifice, fire, knowledge of the fire, because his father was performing. Now the third one is asking about the actual Atma Vidya, knowledge of self-realization and the mystery of death. What exactly death means, how it happens and why it happens, the whole 9 yards of the death. Yamraj is the death, Lord of death. So this is then he was before that, he was before asking third one, it's Yamraj questions. Yamraj gives various allurements. Okay. You take the, he asked Atma Vidya, he said, no, you don't need that. You can take wealth, you need beauty, you need this, but he was not interested in any of that. Specifically, no, I want this only. Then Yamraj finally agreed and gave this. So this is how you can understand this awakening, the inquiry. So many of the Upanishad, these kind of stories are explained. These are real stories. Now further, then why Lord Krishna descends, as we are discussing that. So the purpose is mainly to reawaken the souls. We have lost, we forgot our original position or forgot our relationship with the Lord. So that's why Lord Krishna is coming to reawaken our relationship. So especially Arjuna is put into this condition so that we all can learn Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, Arjuna is a close friend of Krishna. There is no possibility of him to be in that ignorant condition. So it is only just like Parikshit Maharaj also is about to leave in 7 days, die in 7 days. That Parikshit Maharaj is a great devotee of the Lord. From his childhood, he was always thinking of Krishna, searching for Krishna. He was being protected by the Lord. But at the time where Srimad Bhagavatam has to be spoken, so on 7 days he is supposed to hear. So that's why that past time has happened such that He was angry and then he put a dead snake on one of the sage. That's how he was being cursed 7 days today. That's how Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is Lord's pastime to bring the enlightenment, enlightenment to all the conditioned souls. So Arjuna was just used as a medium to uh, to di- uh, to distribute this transcendental knowledge. So that's why Lord in another one of the word used is Bhagavan. The one of the meaning of Bhagavan is Bhagavan. Bharta and Gamayati iti one. One who is maintainer. Bharta means one who is a maintainer of all the living entities, and Gamayati, one who is a maintainer and is coming down to this material world to share his opulence and share the opulence and take them back to the spiritual world. That is another meaning of Bhagavan. So that's why Lord Krishna is coming down and performing his various leelas, beautiful pastimes, and then he wants us to be connected with him and then take us back. So that is the purpose why Lord Krishna. Now the actual Bhagavad Gita starts here with the 5 basic fundamental truths. Bhagavad Gita talks about the whole 18 chapters. The first one is talking about Iswara. Iswara is the supreme controller. Then we have Jiva, we, the living entities, human beings and all others, animals, aquatics, birds, 8.4 million species. So that is Jiva is constitutional position. Our constitutional position is servant of God. Now, how we are controlled? We are not the creator. We are not the controllers. We are controlled by the Lord. Supreme control is Ishvara. And then second is Jiva. Third is Prakriti, material nature, material manifestation. And the fourth is time or Kala. Fourth. And the fifth is Karma, activities. These are the 5 aspects. These are called 5 subject matters, 5 principal truths in the. Maybe you can open. Oh, door is open already. I don't know if there are any other windows. So out of 5, one of them is karma. All the out of these 5, Iswara is eternal. Supreme Lord is always eternal. He never becomes conditioned. Even when he appears as Rama, Varaha, Narasimha, Matsya, Kurma, whatever, or Krishna, any form he takes, is always eternal. He is always transcendental. Even though he appears to take the human body, but is always transcendental body. He never gets deteriorated. He never gets contaminated. So that is the Iswara is that's why is eternal. Jiva is also eternal, but currently is being conditioned. The soul is eternal. That's what it means. And then third one is Prakriti. Prakriti is also eternal in the sense that Prakriti is appearing, disappearing like a cloud, appearing, but this material manifestation is being created, annihilated, again created. There is no gap. It's continuously going on. So that is also eternal. And then the time is also eternally going on. Fourth. And the fifth one, karma, this is not eternal. So now the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to transform the material activities into spiritual activities. So that is the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita mainly. How to make this fifth one out of 5 subject matter, fifth one, ordinary material karma into spiritual activities, transcendental activities. So that's what the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, main purpose is. Now, further detail about these 5 subject matters now elaborately will be described in introduction and much more elaborate, obviously, every chapter. So now the Jiva, compared to the Supreme Lord, so Jiva is part and parcel of Supreme Lord and is minute. Supreme Lord is uh, supreme or is what you call Vibho, great, and we are Anu, we are small, like a child and father, big and small, like that. Supreme Lord is big and or great, Vibho, and Jiva is part and parcel of Supreme Lord, minute. We don't have the, we cannot control the whole world. Maybe we can control maybe our home, maybe our car, maybe a few things, but we can't control so even few more than that. So that's why it's called minute Iswara. Tendency to control is there because it is there in the Supreme Lord. Quality of the Supreme Lord is there in the living entity also because we are part and parcel. The material nature is inferior because it is a it is Jada Jagat, means it doesn't have consciousness. That's why it is inferior. Aparayam vitastwanyam prakritim vidyame param. Means para and apara. We are transcendental. We are superior. Material nature is inferior. So because we have consciousness, material nature doesn't have consciousness. So that's why that is third aspect of material nature. And the material nature constitutes with three things: mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And then under the purview of these three modes and material nature, the time factor, that's when the karma activities are done in certain modes, in a goodness or passion or ignorance. And the result will be accordingly. In what mode we operate, accordingly we will get the result, and accordingly we have to get certain body, a next body, and that will be result of that. So now the Isvara and Jiva, Prakriti, and then Karma, as I mentioned, combination of three modes under control and purview of eternal time, there are activities. So this is going on time immemorial. Suffering and happiness, distress, this duality is going on. Many lifetimes we have been changing. So just like happiness we get, distress also we get. Well, even though we don't want it, but everybody has to go through based on what activities we have done in the past life. As in Bhagavad Gita, later on we'll see that. Purusha Prakriti sto bhungte. Prakriti Jair Guna Karanam Guna Sangasya Sad Asad Janmayonush. Because of the living entity is trying to enjoy this material world, the inferior nature, rather than developing attachment to the supreme lord superior nature, and enjoying in the spiritual world, but is being enjoying the material world of inferior nature, so is being contaminated by that. So then karanam, because the reason is these lower modes, three modes is karanam guna sangasya, then sad asad janmaya, then is getting the impermanent bodies, this temporary material bodies, human body or aquatic body or dog body, animal body, various bodies we are receiving because of that particular. But the happiness, distress, both are given depending on bank balance, whatever we have, pious credits and the time of birth. Certain bank balance, everybody has happiness, distress because certain bank balance, certain pious credits are there, certain impious credits are there. It may be in the beginning of the life, it may be in the middle, it may be later. So, but everybody has to go through this. As Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that verse, Prahlad Maharaj speaking. सुखम ऐन्द्रिकम दैत्य देह योगेन देहिनाम सर्वत्र लभ्यते दैवात यथा दुःखम अयत्न. Just like happiness we also get distress. It is already predestined based on your bank balance of pious credit, impious credits. We have to, we will get it. But this karma can be changed if you use our free will. Same $100, but how you use $100 means this bank balance, pious and impious. How you utilize it? Same time is okay. You are going to live only these many years, but how you utilize that time, how you utilize that pious credit, impious credit, you want to enjoy or you want to use it in a right way, right consciousness, then the difference will be there. Then accordingly you will get a certain type of body, human body, or an actual spiritual body, or impermanent body. So that's where that's whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita. And then now how to change the results? We can change the results of karma, but we do not know what activities we should adopt. So that's why Lord Krishna, we have to come to that consciousness. So that's why now Lord Krishna is speaking about the consciousness. Supreme Lord is supreme conscious, supremely conscious. That means he knows exactly what's going on in each and every living entity, not only earthly planet, not only in US, everywhere, all over this Bhumandala, all planetary system, the whole universe. Not only whole universe, all universes, material universe and spiritual, everywhere, everything he knows. Omniscient. Is full of that is fully supremely conscious. And Jiva is only minutely conscious. He is conscious, but he only knows. That's why it's called Kshetrajna and Kshetrajna. We are conscious of our own self, what we do with our body, what we have done in the yesterday or day before. Only we are, but we are not conscious of what's going on in somebody's heart, somebody's mind, what they have done in the past life. We don't know. But Lord knows. So that He is supremely conscious, we are minutely conscious. We are conscious of only ourselves. So that is the difference. The Prakriti is not conscious, inferior. So that's why this is the difference. And then karma is not written as. That's why we are going through the transmigration of the soul. The soul is going through changing of the body, just like changing clothes, giving up the old vasam sijirnani yatha vihaya navani gruhnati naroparani. Tata sarirani navani dehi. So as we are giving up old clothes and wearing new clothes, like that we are also changing these bodies. and giving up. But we have fear because we are attached to this gross body. We don't have the full uh, realization of the transcendental, our original swarupa that is coming up. Lord Krishna further speaks about this. Then we understand our actual position, and then how to change this, stop this transmigration, change this repeated birth and death, old age, disease. So yeah, now the how to purify our activities. So now the question comes, how to purify these material activities or karma, how to transform ordinary karma into spiritual karma. So that's what Krishna is speaking now about bhakti. The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to engage us in Lord service. So that's what now Krishna is speaking about. So the Lord's body and activities are all transcendental, as I mentioned before. Anytime, wherever, whatever form he is taking, so always his activities are transcendental. So, in order for us, one to become free, one must actually perform transcendental activities to liberate from this material body. It's called mukti, liberate. Who can give liberation? Demigods cannot give liberation. Demigods can give whatever you're asking, that's what they can give. But more than that, they cannot give liberation. Only Mukunda can give liberation. And especially if it is Krishna Prema, it's beyond liberation, that only Lord Krishna can give. No one else, even Lord Vishnu cannot give Krishna Prema. Vaikuntha you can attain, but that is only liberation. Mukti hitva anyada rupam swarupen vyavasthiti. Mukti means giving up these material designations and this material body. Mukti hitva anyada rupam. This is not the original rupa, original swarupa. Just like we have this, when we go to tailor, we have the shirt, pant, or dhoti, whatever. This has a form because our body has a form. Same way, the soul also has a form. We are not able to see because soul is right now one tip of the 10,000 hair of the tip of the hair. That's how small it is. That's why we can't see the soul. Kesagra Satabhaga Satada Kalpitasya. That's a case. You take the tip of the hair and 10,000 times you cut. That's how small it is. Where it is? It is there in the heart. Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivisto Matta Sprutir Gnanam. The soul is situated within the gross body, within the subtle body, within inside that. Where the heart is there, within that heart, the soul is there. Same place, super soul is also there. Super soul is also same size. So small. You can't even use your instrument to find that much small. But when Lord Parikshit Maharaj was protected by the Lord, when Brahmastra was released by Aswadhama, that time Lord Super Soul has increased into 9 inches. Parikshit Maharaj was able to see because he was not ordinary person. He was being protected. Then he was searching for that Lord when he came out. Where is that Lord? They called Parikshit. Yeah, so the idea is the how to transform our activities, material spiritual activities, and that means we have to perform bhakti, devotional service, purified consciousness. So, so what that means exactly this liberation I was talking about here. Yeah, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. This is what everybody knows. Chaturveda Purushartha. Dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, then kama, desires, to and then moksha finally, to liberate from this material body and then attain spiritual body. That means entering into spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka. So beyond that, beyond liberation, then there is another one also. It's called Pancha Purushartha. So that is called Krishna Prema. Attaining these higher rasas, especially Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and in loving exchanges with the Lord. In the rest of the Vaikuntha planet, especially in the rest of the Vaikuntha, where Vaikunteswara is there, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, there you have a relation with master servant, awe and reverence. You cannot perform Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, those you can perform. That is performed in Golok Vrindavan. So there, so for that purpose, there one must attain Krishna Prema. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to give especially this particular thing. So Aradhyo Bhagavan Vajesha Tanay Taddam Sri Vandavanam Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Yakam Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pamardo Maham Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatra Adharanapara. So Lord Krishna appeared because he hasn't tasted, he missed to taste three of the things in one of the previous class I had given the class. discussing about these three things which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna didn't taste. So that's why he again appears as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago to taste these three rasas, how much Radharani and his devotees feels intense love, and then the sweetness of that love, and then the rasas, the mellows of that love. These three aspects. That's why Lord Krishna himself, and then he is also realizing, I haven't given, actually, myself, I haven't given the Krishna prema. So that's why Lord Krishna appeared to taste these three internal reasons, and then also in Kali Yuga, people will be very difficult to follow much activities, elaborate. So specifically to give, spread this holy name, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and but more internal reasons are also there. So that's why Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to actually teach everybody to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, to take us back home, back to Godhead, and attain actually Krishna Prema. So that's why it's come here. So this is beyond the liberation. Now, since we are talking about consciousness, now further Lord is further talking about this. Consciousness means what? Right now we are trying to enjoy. I'm the Lord, I'm serving. I'm trying to enjoy everything, whatever I see. As soon as a baby is born, he is touching things, wants to put in the mouth. Then later on he will share. Initially, no, he doesn't want to even give anybody. Anybody taking, then he will cry. He will become cranky. So that is a natural thing. So that acquisition, the holding on to, attachment is there. So that is the consciousness. But in reality, if we want to come to the transcendental, eternal happiness, then we have to become the cooperator. We are not the enjoyer, we are not the creator, but we are actually the cooperator. When you cooperate with the will of the Lord, instructions of the Lord, then actually we get the happiness. So that's so that is what is mainly is the bhakti means, cooperating with the will of the Lord. That means everything, our body, our mind, our senses, our intelligence, everything must be in serving the Lord, using everything in the service of the Lord. Now, further, Lord Krishna is speaking about himself, Ishvara. When we say Ishvara, what exactly it means? And there are three aspects of Ishvara. Just like the sun, you see, there is a sun rays, there is sun planet. Behind sun planet, there is a person behind it, sun god. So each of these personalities has names. Sun sun god's name is Vivaswan. So no, Vivaswan Manu. Sun god name I don't remember. But Indra's name is Purandara. Like the Manu. Right now the Manu who is ruling is Vaivaswata Manu. So Vaivaswata Manu. So like that sun god. So three aspects are there, which means Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. Three levels of understanding the Supreme Lord, absolute truth. Brahman realization means Brahman effulgence. The light is called Jyoti. So, or is also called Viraja river. The the place where the material world and spiritual world are distinguished, are in between. When you cross over the material world before entering into spiritual, you have to cross over the Brahman effulgence. So that is the border. Material world, spiritual world, there is a border that is called Viraja. It is the perspiration of the Lord, Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, Karanajal. It is called Viraja river. It is produced from the Lord's perspiration. When we perspire, we get sweat, little. But when Lord sweats, it becomes oceans and rivers. That is the nature of the Lord. So what we are minute is supreme, is greatest, is Vibhu. So that these are three levels in comparison is given like this. Sun rays, in one sense it is same, sun ray, but sun rays is not the actual personality. Sun god is different. Sun rays and then sun planet where we are getting from actually these rays from, and then beyond the sun planet there is a person behind it, sun god. Same way, Brahman is not all in all, because some people perform when they those Brahmavadis or Gyanis, they want to renounce everything. This is impermanent. This is I want to renounce, go to forest, go to Himalayas, and then they don't want to do anything with the material nature. They want to merge into Brahman apple. They want to become Brahman. So, but that is not the permanent either. They will fall down from the Brahman effulgence also. because there is no variety. There is no person behind. There is no person sitting. There is no activity. It is called the Nirbed Brahmanusandhan. It is called. I mean, there is no variety. There is no variegatedness. If you are there in one black room, enclosed room, how much time you can stay? No one wants to. Everybody wants friends. Everybody want either someone want to get married. Everybody wants another person. So one person cannot stay on his own for a not long time. So the Brahman effulgence is there is no person to interact, no service, no activity. Then what are you going to? How long you'll stay in that? So you'll fall down. The jnanis who want to merge into Brahman effulgence, they fall down. So that is Brahman realization. But they have to go beyond. The yogis are also meditating on the Paramatma, super soul. But the super soul is also temporary within this material universe only. Super soul is there. Even in demigods, also super soul is there. Super soul is there in each and every living and each and every atom is there. Even in demigods, when demigods are giving their boons, somebody is asking boons, approaching them, worshipping them. Who's giving? Demigods are giving, but the super soul is the one which is allowing actually these demigods to give grant the boons. So they are not independent. Even the super soul has to allow them to give. So but this super soul is only there in the material world. uh, so the in the spiritual world there is no super soul because there is a person. The supreme lord himself is there personally sitting in the spiritual world. It is mentioned goloka eva nivasate akilatma bhuto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajam गोलोकदाम निजदाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिदाम सुतेषु तेषु ते ते प्रभाव निचया प्रकटाश्चैर् गोविंदमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि. The spiritual world, material world, how it is structured, where it is situated, all these are explained. Goloka eva, Goloka Damni, the spirit highest planet is Goloka, spiritual world Goloka Vrindavan. Below that is Dwarka, then you have Jagannath Puri, then you have Mathura, then below that is Ayodhya planet, then below that is the rest of the Vaikuntha planet. And then below that is this Devi Dham, Durga Dham. Durga Devi has 10 hands, 10 weapons. No one can escape unless they surrender to Supreme Lord. Then only she will release her network. So, Aneka Chitta Vibrant Moha Jala Samav. It is like a hunter releasing a net to capture. So, it is in this material once we are in this Durga Dham. Very difficult to escape from the hands of Durga Devi. Devi Dham, Durga Dham. So above this Devi Dham is Haridham. This is the rest of the Vaikuntha. Above that Vaikuntha planet is the Golok Vrindavan, which is the topmost, where Lord Krishna is residing. Lord Govind, the Lord Krishna is residing in the this Goloka Vrindavan. That is a Golok Eva Nivasate Akilatma Bhuto. Is the Lord of all the living entities. So is the source of all the incarnations also. Rasovaisa, source of all rasas also. So that what is the so that's how we have to understand Brahman, Paramatma. But the yogis are meditating on whom? Super soul. What will happen to them? When the yogis merge into the abdomen of Mahavishnu, there also they will follow. That is even more dangerous than the Brahman effulgence. Abdomen of Mahavishnu, like if mother is producing a child, any mother want child to go back into the abdomen? No, no one wants. So it is like that. The yogis position who are trying to merge into the Paramatma abdomen of Mahavishnu, and again they come back. So only one must worship the supreme. But so what it means is they all those who are worshipping, they all have to come back and perform bhakti. Then only they can go actually to Vaikuntha. Otherwise, there is no way they can go to Vaikuntha, spiritual world. The jnanis or the yogis. Without performing bhakti, they cannot go beyond this Brahman effulgence. So, and they will fall down again. So that's why they need to perform this bhakti. Further, 8:02. We'll stop in a few minutes. I want to finish this introduction today. Further, Lord is describing about Lord's potencies. Lord has various so many energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividaya Sruyate Swabhavaki Gnana Balakriyas. Has many energies, but predominantly categorized into three: as internal energy, external energy, marginal energy. We are marginal. Means we can choose. We want to go to the Lord or we want to go to the material world. You want to enjoy with the Supreme Lord or you want to enjoy with the material world. So this we are in marginal position. You can choose. Choice, free will is there. Despite Lord Krishna is telling whole Bhagavad Gita, at the end Krishna is telling Arjuna, now you decide whatever you want to do. You want to fight, you want to follow my instruction, or you want to do whatever you want. It's up to you. Decision is yours, because that's why love means it is up to you, free will. You have to use your own choice. You want to come to me, surrender to me, or you want to do whatever you like. So then that's why this material world is created. If somebody asks why Lord has created this material world, why prison house is created in any country, there are people who doesn't want to follow. Then what can you do? You can do. Countries and cities everywhere you have prison, but it is only smallest place. That's why material world is only one fourth. Spiritual world is three fourth. So spiritual world is huge. Material world is only small portion, one fourth of that. So that is created because those wants to be rebellious, want to enjoy separately from the Lord. So for them only this material world is created. But Lord is very compassionate. Is coming again and again. He is sending his representative as spiritual masters, as Ramanachari, Madhvacharya, like that, and he is sending the Shastra. He is expanding actually the as super soul, as Guru, and as also Shastra. In these three ways, Lord Himself is expanding in these three ways. Is trying to tell us, you will not get the happiness here in this material world. Let's come back. Enough. You have wasted many lifetimes. So now realize it and come back to me. So that's why Lord is giving all the help. If we can ready to cooperate and understand. So that he has internal energy, which is in the spiritual world, the Radharani, all the various energy are internal energy, and we are marginal energy, and the external energy, which is material nature, is called external energy. These are the three energies. There are so many energies, but broadly categorized into these three energies. And nobody is equal to Supreme Lord, or nobody is beyond the Supreme Lord. And Lord is the greatest. He doesn't have any activity to perform. He is always playing on the flute, he's performing cohort, he's playing with his cohort boyfriend. He doesn't have it. Because by his Icha Shakti, desire, and all his expand, all his energies are working. He doesn't have any duty to perform. That is the Supreme Lord's position. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita, beautiful descriptions are given. कृष्णेर यतेक कैला सर्वोत्तम नर लीला नर वपूत आहार स्वरूप गोप वेश वेणु कर नव किशोर नटवर नर लीलार hayas anurupa. Lord Krishna has many pastimes, of which his pastimes as a human being are the best. His form as a human being is the supreme transcendental form. In this form, he is a cowherd boy. He carries a flute in his hand, and his youth is new. He is also an expert dancer. All this is just suitable for his pastimes as a human being. कृष्णेर मधुर रूप सुना सनातन यही रूपेर एक कना दुबाय सब त्रिभुवन सर्व पुराणी करे आकर्षण. My dear Sanatan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking. Lord Krishna is Lord Chaitanya speaking to Sanatana Goswami. The sweet, attractive, transcendental form of Krishna is so nice. Just try to understand it. Even a fractional understanding of Krishna's beauty can merge all three worlds in the ocean of love. He attracts all living entities within the three worlds. योग माया चित शक्ति विशुद्ध सत्व परिणाति तारा शक्ति लोक देखायते यही रूप रत्न भक्त गणेर गूढ़ धना प्रकट कैला नित्य लीला हिते. The transcendental form of Krishna is shown to the world by Lord Krishna's internal spiritual energy. I was just discussing about this, which is a transformation of pure goodness. This jewel-like form is the most confidential treasure of the devotees. This form is manifested from Krishna's eternal pastime. We're almost done. Few more minutes. 5-10 minutes max. Now, this knowledge, so far we are understanding our possession, Supreme Lord position. Now, we need transcendental knowledge, but this is not a question of research. Like material knowledge, you may search in Google or you may watch in Doordarshan. That's how you may receive. But this is not that kind of knowledge where you receive by your own study or by watching. You can read, but you should be hearing in the association of devotees, and it is through disciplic succession. We are getting the knowledge through spiritual masters in a parampara. Then that we will understand this science. It is not a ordinary subject to research. This is not cannot be done like that. It is not a question of research. It is disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshyo vidu. Because there are four defects are there in the conditioned soul: imperfect senses, illusion, cheating propensity, committing mistakes. So that's why we have to receive this knowledge from the Supreme Lord Himself. First, He has given to Lord Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya, when he performed flute, he played flute, then through his flute, two Gayatri mantras, Kama Gayatri, Krishna Gayatri, was invested or sent in the heart of Lord Brahma. He was initiated by Lord Krishna. So that's why we are called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. ISKCON is coming under one of the four bona fide Vaishnavas. One of the Sampradayas, Brahma Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Gaudiya means Bengal, or the followers of Srimati Radharani, eternal consort of Lord Krishna. So Brahma, Lord Brahma, further down Narada, Narada Muni to Vyasdev, like that, further down Madhvacharya in between, further down Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and further Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Sampradaya, we are called. So Lord Krishna has given the knowledge to Lord Brahma, and then that knowledge has been going down, further down, coming down as a disciplic succession. This is how, not by research. So this is how the knowledge should be received. So we can study, go home and study, read Bhagavad Gita, but we should always study in the association of devotees, because otherwise we have these four defects. But Brahma, when we receive knowledge like this in the disciplic succession, then we don't have this. Then it is perfect knowledge, because we are receiving in a Aroha, or yeah, in the descending order. It's not through research. That is the difference. Otherwise, you have imperfect senses, you have cheating propensity, you have illusion. So that's why there are so many people who has written. Radha Krishna, one of the president or the chief minister, he has written also Bhagavad Gita. Many has written, but those Bhagavad Gita are not authorized, because they themselves have to be a devotee. They themselves have to practice it. They themselves have to realize it, communicate with the Lord. Then they can understand actually the transcendental science. Like if you are a doctor, you have practiced it, then you are expert in that field. People go because they know how experienced are. Same way lawyer. Even to send our kids to universities, we find out whether this university is good for this field or not. So then only we send kids. Same way as this transcendental science also, you have to read the books which are actually authorized. The person who's writing is actually qualified in that field. He's not a doctor, he's not a actor, or he's not a politician. Actually, he has to be a devotee. Then actually, if he is practicing that too, not theoretically being devotee. So internal consciousness is actually he has communication with the Lord. So that is important point here. The Lord is making. Otherwise, these four defects are there. That is the aspect has been mentioned. Now the utilization, the how we utilize things given by the Lord. There are three kinds of activities. So mode of passion, ignorance, goodness. Three kinds of food. That's why mode of food taken in mode of goodness. It is wholesome, fatty, juicy. So vegetarian. So food within that also these are used. That is mode of goodness. Passion means which is um, rajasic, and then mode of ignorance is completely means meat and whatnot, putrid, stale, so all that is coming under this three kinds of food and three kinds of austerity. So austerity to actually to give happiness to the Lord, to serve the Lord. Austerity for our own name, fame. Austerity even to give pain to the body. Some people have severe austerities. So that, but these are not good acts. So that is all mentioned later on Bhagavad Gita. But Lord is giving an introduction Bhagavad Gita, all these aspects, how we utilize things, what kind of austerity, what kind of charity. Charity also, it's not the, you see anybody who is poor, you can give, but if he uses for smoking, you are getting the reaction. On top of giving charity, but if they use for wrong purpose, then you are also getting the reaction if they use for wrong purpose. So there are all these things Krishna is describing that in later on in Bhagavad Gita, but is giving the introduction how to properly utilize in the service of the Lord everything, our wealth, our body, our mind, our senses, everything Lord is describing. Now he's describing how we can go back to the spiritual abode. How we can easily. Lord is describing that. Ananya cheta satadam yoma smarata nitya tasyaham sulava partha nitya yuktasya yogina. One who is always thinking of me. Ananya cheta means without any other motive. Satatam, always. Yoma always remembering the Lord. Yoma smarata nitya. Tasyaham sulava. For him, I am very easy to obtain. Tasyaham sulava partha. That means at the time of giving up this body, one must remember Antakalecha Mameva Smaran Mukta Kale. That means then how will you remember? How 24 by 7, how one can remember? And 24 by 7, how one can at the time of death one can remember? Because it's 10,000 scorpion bite. Death means giving up. You have so much attachment to this gross body, subtle body. To give up the soul, to give up this gross body and subtle body, It is an impossible task. It is so severe that attachment. So that is like a high fever, 106 degrees or 10,000 scorpion, but various comparison is given. So that's the only way you can is by practice. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Arjuna is telling, no, no, no. How can I remember? How can I engage my mind? My mind is not stable. It is like going like controlling a wind. It is so difficult. Chanchalam himana. Then Krishna said that abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasam. You have to practice. You can do it. Think of me and fight. Chetasa nani gamina. So tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmarad. Think of me and fight. Both how you can do. Yes. You have something going on at home. You're constant, even though you are at work, you're still remembering. Oh, what's going to happen to this? You're remembering. Or you are attached to father, your father is not well. Even though you are at work, you're still remembering. So that attachment has to be there. With the Lord, then wherever you are, you're still remembering. But it requires a lot of practice. We are not there in that practice right now. But once you start practicing, so that's why the steps to do is especially hearing. Regularly hearing. Satam prasangat mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana. We have to hear among the association of devotees regularly the transcendental topics of Krishna, Krishna Katha. Then gradually, that Sravanam and Kirtanam, chanting the holy name of the Lord and hearing. These two aspects, by this process, we'll be able to actually purify our consciousness and engage gradually our senses, our body, our mind. Kayenam. What is that verse? Yeah, the kaya means body, mind, and senses. All three must be utilized in the service of the Lord. So Lord Krishna is that's what is instructing. The only way you can remember at the time of death is before you practice it. If you haven't practiced, you are not going to pass the final exam. Right? Anybody trying to write material exams, how can they pass if they haven't practiced? They're going to fail. So that's why this practice has to be there. All of a sudden, at the end, one day you do, one day you go to temple, and at the time of death, you are going to remember. No, there is no possibility of remember because 100 things you have done, one thing only you did in whole life. Then how can you remember? So that's why when Durvas Muni went, and Durvas Muni tried to offend Amrish Maharaj, he tried to protect himself. He was a great yogi, but he couldn't protect himself. He went to Lord Brahma. He couldn't protect himself. Sudarshan Chakra was going behind him because Amrish Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. Then he went to Lord Shiva. He couldn't get protected. And then he went to Vaikunta. He could go Vaikunta. Then Lord Vishnu said, I cannot do also anything. Aham bhakta paradina aswatantra hi jana. Sadhuvir grasta hridayo. Bhaktair bhakta janapriya. I am there in the heart of my devotees. I cannot do. You have to go back to your actual devotee whom you offended. He tried to produce some demon out of his hair and to kill Amrish Maharaj. He didn't do actually any mistake. So he tried to use his yogic power. Then Lord has said that. Durvasmuni said, no, no, you are the Lord. You can control anything, even your soul, because you released it. So why you cannot control? Then Lord said, actually, I am being controlled by my devotees. First of all, you tell me what you have done for me. Hmm? You haven't done anything for me. Your whole life you have done for your own benefit. You have performed mystic yoga, this yoga, that you have to get your own benefit. Have you done anything for me? Bhakti is to actually to please the Lord. Bhakti is to offer things to the Lord. If somebody has done something for the Lord, then that is actually bhakti, that is service. But Durvasmuni hasn't done anything. So Lord is asked. So obviously he hasn't done anything. Then he has to run for his life, go back to Amrish Maharaj, whom he offended. Then Amrish Maharaj, obviously pure devotee, he didn't consider anything. Rather, he accepted, you are great yogi. What I am nothing. So he accepted. Then Sudarshan Chakra stopped. So that is a position of a pure devotee and pure devotion. Even being a king, Amrish Maharaj has used everything. Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayor Vaikunta Vacham Sigunanu Varnane. Used everything. His eyes, his hands, his legs, used everything, his wealth, great king, but used everything in the service of the Lord. So that's why he is able to become a pure devotee while being a king, while performing his kingly duties, his family duties, so many things. So this is the beauty of this process where Lord Krishna is describing. Oh Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya, you are a Grihastha, you are married, you have two wives, but still you can do this also. As long as you have attachment for me, you can still, while performing your activities, you can remember me, you can do everything for me, then automatically you will come so to me. So at the end, by this gradual practice, it's bhakti is very simple for those whose heart is simple. So who's not trying to complicate things. building the empire in this material world, complicating more and more, acquire, no satisfaction, go on endeavoring and acquiring. Then how one can actually simplify things? There is no way. Always anxiety. The more you acquire, more anxiety. So unless you have simplicity. So that's why Lord is describing this. Simplify your life and try to put Krishna in the center, and then there is a question. So on one hand, we say it is very difficult to understand Krishna, even demigod can understand. On the other hand, mentioned it's very easy to get Krishna. The opposite statement. Other query is how can we escape from Durga Devi? Good questions. Yeah, that's the key point is the one who is simple. Means you can perform, but there should be some border, some border, some thin line you have to draw. Okay, you are working, you have to maintain your family mortgage and whatnot. All right, but don't do overdo. Okay, 1 million is not enough. I need 10 million. One job is not enough. You do multiple jobs. One car is not enough. Then there is no end to it. You can try to get happiness because somebody else has it. I also want to have. You can have it, but what result you are going to get? That we have to see what is going to happen really. Whether I really need it. Yeah, the other that is them, but leave it to them. But whether I really need it, whatever I want to acquire, so that we have to see. If you simplify it, then the mind will be peaceful. You are trying to grab more and more things and complicating. Then first of all, you will not have time for your own self because you have to pay this, pay that, and go on. It's so much complexity, more and more. You have things you have to worry about it, right? Even whether it's gold or money or house, car, everything. So much insurance, whatnot. In modern day world, everywhere, whether you are India or US or Russia, wherever you are, the things are everywhere complicated. It's no more that simplicity. In olden days, used to be much more simpler, but now it's more complex situation. So by putting Krishna in the center as we perform slowly and gradually, then things will start. We'll be able to realize Krishna will give intelligence how to actually accept, how to actually keep it simple, how to accept what is favorable, how to reject what is not favorable for Krishna's service. So that Krishna will give intelligence, but we have to put one step ahead towards him and then try to understand, try to practice Bhagavad Gita, try to understand Bhagavad Gita and put in practice, which means we have to use our body in the service of the Lord. So we have to use our tongue to taste Krishna Prasad, tongue to chant the holy names of the Lord slowly and gradually. Then we can actually purify. Then it's easy. So we have George Harrison, we were discussing the other day. George Harrison is a Beatle. He had so much money, but by the grace of Sri Prabhupada, he was able to utilize it. Henry Ford's grandson, Ambrish Prabhu, is he became a great devotee because he has utilized, he followed the instruction of Sri Prabhupada, then he became a great devotee. They are wealthy people, but that means they are not announcing. He still has, he's still taking care of his family, whatever business he has, is still taking care of. We're not announcing. We are all, most of us are pretty much these days. In India, maybe a little different, but even in US, most of the temples are 95% or 99% are all IT or business. Nobody is, very few, hardly less than 1% is stays at temple. Everybody is IT, everybody is working. But still they are running where the Krishna is giving the intelligence, how to utilize everything. Still, even though while you are at office, you are still, because you are utilizing your resources for Krishna service. Yeah, so you are chanting, you are remembering, you are reading, and so you are associating with the Lord in that way, utilizing things for and slowly and gradually through this process. That's why Lord Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, you now stop fighting. You stop your Kshatriya business, go to forest. That's what Arjuna was telling. Rather, Krishna is telling. No, no. You have to be there where you are. What is your occupation? That's what you have to. You are supposed to do. You cannot renounce. Cat has to do cat job. Dog has to do the dog job. So your swadharma you have to do. Swadharma nidanam sreya paradharma bhayavaha. You take somebody else's job, then you cannot do it. Don't try to burn yourself. Try to do what you can. So that's why you take guidance of the senior devotees, advanced devotees, where they know exactly your proclivities, your what you can handle, what your quality is accordingly. It will help. So that is the idea. Early, but take one step at a time. Don't try to jump everything. Take one step, chanting, hearing, and try to coming to temple and using our body in the service of the Lord. Or at least come first and then gradually you start engaging in the service of the Lord. But the hearing and chanting is the first business. First chanting has to be done and hearing has to be. These two has to go on every day. Regularly has to go on. Then service. It's not that first I will do service, then chanting is later and hearing is later. No. Then you can do proper service because service require attention, service require details. Then you cannot pay attention to the details. Even if you open altar, you open a temple, you try to do some puja, but there is no attention, there is no attachment, there is no attraction. You are doing some mechanically, you're doing something, ringing a bell, but what you are doing, what consciousness you are doing, you don't know. Because first, that's why you have to chant. For this age, it is prescribed is first one must chant the holy name, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then you have to hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why these classes are being given. Earlier, people used to go to Gurukul and everything, but now in Kali Yuga, that's why Prabhupada has established this system that morning Srimad Bhagavatam, we have 6 to 6:30 every day on Zoom class on Srimad Bhagavatam. Evening is 8:30 to 9. I have Krishna book class every day. And on Friday evening, I have Bhagavad Gita class 7 to 8. And then Saturday also now new batch today 7 to 8 class is there because this is the Prabhupada system so that wherever you are, whether IT worker or business, whatever the case may be, your homemaker, whatever the case may be, you can still participate, still engage yourself, even though whole week you may be busy, but some or the other spend that little bit time, give it to Krishna, then Krishna will make sure that your whole day gets purified by just simply engaging yourself, getting connected with Krishna. So that is a problem. But it takes time because understand that millions of lifetimes you have done, but one life, little bit in one day you did, or a few months you did, suddenly things are not going to change suddenly. Just it requires at least 10, 15 years, 20 years practice. Then slowly you'll be able to transform yourself. So it requires that practice, consistent practice. It's not that one day you do, after 1 month again you will do. Then no, it should be done every day, 10 minutes a day or whatever you can allot it. So consistently do it. So just like we eat, we sleep, there's consistently we do every day. Maybe once in a while we may do fasting. Same way we should also follow because the gross body, subtle body, you are feeding every day. You're not forgetting it. Eating, sleeping, we are not forgetting. But the soul, who is feeding? The feeding of the soul means this hearing and chanting that has to be done consistently. But we are forgetting it, so that's why we are not able to get the actual, the real happiness, the inclination or the instruction from the super soul is not coming because first we have to put effort because it's a free will. You have to turn to Krishna and tell him that I am here to listen to you. Please give me the instruction. Then he will start revealing. Otherwise, he cannot reveal because you are not ready. You want to turn towards other things, not Krishna. Then how Lord Krishna can, right? Your guest has come to your house, and then you're instead of talking to the guest, you are doing something else. Then can guest instruct or say something? No, he cannot say. He will walk out. So the same thing. Super soul is there watching. Is only watching because you are not ready. You don't want to communicate with the Lord. You are not ready to receive instruction from the Lord. So until that point, Lord is only sarvasya chaham hridisannavishto matta sprutir granam. He will give forgetfulness. You will not give remembrance of him because you are not ready for it. You don't want him. But when you are ready, then Krishna is going to be even more ready. When you are ready to do service, ready to connect with Him, ready for instruction, ready for get more intelligence and spiritual strength, then Lord is also ready, more ready. He's always guiding, but your free will, He cannot force. He cannot force anything on you. You have to you have to make your own choice that I really want you. Then Krishna also, He also really want us. He's always really want us, but we are the one forcibly going away from Krishna. Now, when you realize it, I want to come back to Krishna, then Krishna will giving either directly or indirectly through devotees, through temple, through various channels. Lord will send all the answers, all the help what we need, like through Narada Muni, through Kunti Maharani, through Pandavas, through Prahlad Maharaj. All Srimad Bhagavatam is all these examples. So many different conditions, different varna, different ashrams, different examples are given so that we understand it. You cannot say, "Oh, I am Grihastha." That this doesn't apply. No, Prahlad Maharaj also a Grihastha. Ambarish Maharaj also Grihastha. Most of the examples are all easy. Out of 12 Mahajanas, some many of them are Grihasthas. You cannot say that no, I am Grihastha. I cannot do this. No, the Grihastha examples are there. In our Acharya Parampara also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was 11 kids. He was a magistrate, but he was a Grihastha. He was practicing. It's not complicated. But if you have time for Krishna, then he will make it easy, simple, and give the time for Krishna. Then he will adjust. If you run your life towards Krishna, Krishna will adjust your life. If you run toward away from Krishna, Krishna cannot adjust your life. You are on your own. Whose plan is better? Prabhupada always said, if you make your own plan, then you are on your own. But the best plan, when Krishna makes your plan, your life plan, then that is the best. Guru and Krishna makes the plan, that is the best plan. So don't try to make independent plan, independent of Guru and Krishna. So that's what we have to do. That's why Arjuna has made plan. Pandavas always, from their childhood, always serving the Daumya and the Vyasdev and all other Brahmanas, always taking their guidance from the beginning, even when they are in the forest. Always, even though they were married and they had kids and all these things, but they are not independently planning anything. They're always being guided. So that's why the Lord also was there, even leaving Dwarka, leaving the queens, is going with them. We spent his time because they are so much attached. They're always thinking of Krishna. Krishna is also thinking of them. Same thing with Kunti Maharani. So that's how you see that reciprocation. So, uh, yeah, that will be the answer. Hope that is clear. To stop here, already 8:29. We went over time. Thank you very much. Jai Krishna and Gandaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. In the next class, we will be starting Bhagavad Gita chapter 1. Introduction is completed.